Thank you very much. Hello, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so we've got an amazing story to tell you now. So if you're standing around at the back, could some of you make your way in? Because I really don't want you to miss out on what you're about to hear. Give a warm welcome to Arf White, everybody.
Good afternoon. Come and join us.
Yeah, come and join us. Come and crowd in the whole place.
Put your seats down the front here. No one's getting any food till we finish.
And we can talk for a very long time. But, Arthur, by way of introduction, you've had a very illustrious sporting career. Do you want to tell everyone what you're about, what your sporting career is about, and some of the medals and championships that you won?
Well, I used to be a power lifter. I'm a sort of slimmed down version now. I was about 18.5 stone when I was competing as a power lifter. I actually competed between 1976 and 2006. And during that 30-year career, I actually represented Great Britain for 27 years. And as an international competitor, I won 9 British titles, I won 6 European titles, I won 4 world titles.
That's worth a round of applause, isn't it? Come on.
It's a lot better than Luton Town's ever done. I've broken in excess of 100 British, European, Commonwealth and world records. And I was in the Guinness Book of Records when they used to put British and European lifts in, so I was in the Guinness Book of Records
just
as well.
to interrupt you there, Arf, what was your best deadlift?
My best official deadlift is actually 380 kilos, which is 857 pounds, which is about 77 stones.
That's quite a lot, isn't it? Imagine deadlifting that.
I have actually unofficially lifted 410 kilos, which is 910 pounds. And if you ever watch the strongman competitions, these big guys that come out, they actually use wrist straps. And with wrist straps, I've actually pulled 535 kilos. So powerlifting was a big thing for me. I actually won the Open twice. I then went into the Masters 1 and I won the over 40s. I then went into the Masters 2 and I won the over 50s. And I seriously contemplated doing the over 60s. But my wife did point out the fact that I was writing out more checks than my body could actually cash. So I retired at the age of 56.
Amazing. So that is an incredible sporting career. Most people would look at that and think that you're a successful guy, but obviously like powerlifting doesn't pay. So you had another job as well on top of that?
Yeah, I'm a carpenter by trade, and then when I finished my apprenticeship back in the late 60s, early 70s, I started to work for myself. I actually come not far from here originally. I lived in Essex, so this is a sort of home turf for me. And I built a building business back in the mid-80s. I had about 50 men working for me. I had a big house in Essex. My daughter just told us she came back to Essex a few weeks ago and she found our old house is valued at about £1 million now. Wouldn't I like to own it now? And so I had a successful building business, and really it was the building business that sponsored my lifting.
So, world champion powerlifter, multiple medal winner, reputation around the world for the sport that you're in, successful businessman, governor of a school.
I was a governor of a school, yeah.
So on the eyes of the watching world, you're very respectable, but there is a story beneath the story, so weren't all as rosy as it sounds, was it?
No, I had one time in my life, ladies and gentlemen, everything that you would want in life, materialistically speaking. I had a happy and successful marriage. My wife is sitting down over there. We've been married for 47 years now. I had a successful business, as I've already told you, and I had a successful sporting career, taking me around the world. But you know, there was always something more. I was looking for something more in life. I was looking for another contract. I was looking for a bigger contract. I wanted a bigger house. I wanted a faster car. I wanted to lift more weights. Powerlifting really did become, though, to me, my God. Everything and everyone took second place to it.
It took some point in that obsession with lifting and obsession with getting the money. A couple of wrong turns happened, didn't they? So what happened?
Well, as I said, I believe I actually became addicted to training. I wanted to compete. I wanted to train every day, and you can't do that. It's impossible. So I had to find a way to try and actually feed and fuel this addiction. And I found out that you could actually take some drugs. They were called anabolic steroids. I don't know if any of you know what that is about. And up to this point in my life, I never smoked, I drank very little, and I certainly didn't take drugs. I was an international sportsman. I competed and I took a lot of pride, but my addiction of training needed to be fueled. So I started taking anabolic steroids. I'm working hard, I'm training hard, fatigue was setting in, and I started taking a little bit of speed. Speed led me into amphetamines and sulf, and sulf led me into cocaine, and I eventually ended up as an addict. A cocaine addiction I had for a number of years, coupled with the steroids, caused me a lot of problems.
We've known each other for quite a long time now, and you describe it as a certain number of years of madness. And how many years of madness was it?
I had actually 4 years of madness. I thought I was in control of my life. I thought I could control the drugs, and yet my life started to spiral out of control. I had an adulterous affair with a young woman. I left my wife, deserted my children. I spent more time in the gym than I did on the contracts. Having 50 men and more working for you, it don't take a lot to lose money, and I started to lose everything. And in that 4 years of madness, I lost my marriage, I lost my business, I lost my homes, I lost my cars, I lost my money, everything I'd ever worked for from being a kid. And you need to remember where I come from. I'm a kid off of a council estate in Essex. I'm one of 4 kids, working class family. We had no privileges in my life, we had no money in our life. And I worked hard for everything I ever got. And now, through this madness, my drug addiction, I was losing everything.
How much money do you think you got through in those 4 years?
It's hard to describe really how much you get through. I believe in cash, I blew £1 million. That's a lot of money even today.
And what were you doing for work? Did the business continue, or what happened?
I lost my contracts, I lost my business. I started to work as a nightclub doorman. I started to run an illegal debt collecting business. I used to carry with me a 12-inch diver's knife strapped on this arm, 38 Beretta automatic in this pocket, knuckle duster in this pocket, 2 clav hammers under my seat, and a pickaxe handle in the car. This was now the madness of my life, though. But I need you to remember where I'm from. As I said, I was a kid off of a council estate who loved life, who loved sport. I was a family man, a husband, a father, a businessman, a sportsman, and as you say, I was even the governor of a local school. I'm now living a violent life fueled by drugs.
I mean, that is rock bottom stuff. I mean, that's you on the floor, but how bad did it really get inside? In you the man, how bad did it get?
There was a time, as I said, when I had everything that you would want. My drug addiction blew my life apart. My adulterous affair blew my marriage apart. I was now addicted. I thought I was in control. It was controlling me. My drug addiction led me into bouts of depression. That's not a nice illness. I tried to take my own life on a number of occasions. Tried to cut my throat, overdose, crashed the car, drowned myself. I was in Tenerife and I started to walk into the sea. I wanted to drown. I wanted my life to end because I could see no way out of it. All I could see was the madness and the devastation that I'd caused, and I wanted my life to end. And even in 1992, I just won the European title, I just won the world title, I'd won the best lifter in Europe, I was the second best lifter in the world. And that particular night in a hotel up in Newcastle, I tried to cut my own throat and I wanted my life to end. I was making enemies as well. You know, I mean, where I come from out the East End, and certainly where I was living and where I was working in the East End, there's plenty of fellas there that would have been happy to have taken my life. And as hard and as tough as I thought I was, there were men that were going to take my life out. So when I say my life was close to ending, I'm not being melodramatic. I'd even had a check-up with a doctor. He x-rayed my heart. He showed my heart the size of a small football. He said, if you continue, you will die. So I'm not being melodramatic when I say that my life was close to ending.
So that's quite amazing, isn't it? You could have all the appearances of success, world champion sportsman, run a business, and still there's obviously the itch has not been scratched.
Right.
Want to train more, get addicted, something's not being satisfied, takes you down a route of cocaine, amphetamines, steroids, lose your business.
Everything.
And you can even be in a world championship competition and win it and still want to kill yourself at the end of the day because inside the inner man's destroyed.
There's, as I say, it was 92 and I was competing in this country. It was the biggest competition of my life. And there was photographers there was newspapers there was radios, there was a local TV station there, and there was guys that knew me and knew me well from around the world. And yeah, the accolades were coming in, the trophies were coming. Certainly no money. There was never any money in powerlifting. As I say, it was my business that sponsored it. It was now my sort of illegal business that was sponsoring it. And I was on my own that night, as I say, in a hotel room. I stood there. I thought there was no way out of this mess. I wasn't with my wife. I didn't. My wife even took a restraint order out on me so that I wouldn't take my kids. Now, I'd never hurt them, but I could no longer be trusted. This was now the madness and the craziness of my life. And I stood there in this hotel room. I got my knife out. I was going to cut my throat. And all I remember after that was waking up the following morning on the floor. But I wanted my life to end. I saw no way out of the mess that I was in.
Obviously Arthur's still here and he's back with his wife, so there's a second part to this story. And it's quite a miraculous story about how things turned around for Arthur. So I'm going to hand back to Caroline now. She'll tell us what's going to happen next. But then after a short break, we're going to come back.
I will be back.
And we're going to tell you about part 2, which is honestly absolutely mind-blowing. And you don't want to miss it. Thanks, Caroline.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Give him a huge round of applause. Great. We have more of that yet to come.
Just
So
before
now,
we broke for the hog roast, we were talking about Arthur's story of being a world champion powerlifter, who's a successful businessman, who's a governor of a school, had £1 million house, had everything that the world could offer, then got really addicted to the training and was taking anabolic steroids, which led to amphetamines, which led to a cocaine addiction, lost his business, lost his marriage. That's what we were discussing in the first part. Everything slid downhill. But how bad did that addiction actually get? Like the cocaine and the training. What was that like at its worst?
I suppose it's difficult to explain how you feel, but the quantity. I used to put cocaine in my coffee. I used to put it on my cornflakes. I used to keep in a little office I had. I run a small office out of the East End of London, and in a suspended ceiling I had a 2-pound bag of cocaine, like a bag of sugar, and I'd pull that down and I would use that every time. The longest I actually went without sleep once was 5 days. I was living in a bedsit in the East End of London in Leighton, and I was working. I was trying to collect a fair bit of money, and I was just taking cocaine after cocaine, and I just didn't go to sleep for 5 days. I ended up laying on my bed with a cold towel across my eyes. It felt as if my head was going to explode. And yet I still thought I was in control. And yet it was now controlling me, for sure.
And that's amazing how the human heart can deceive you. Like, you think you're in control, but by this time I'm guessing marriage to Jackie was gone, business was gone. This was at the height of the 4 years of madness, was it?
Yeah, as I said, I had an adulterous affair with a young woman, and I left my wife. Before I continue, though, I want to say something. I'm not proud of what I'm telling you. I'm actually ashamed of some of the things I've done in my life. I'm not proud that I can't look my wife in the eye who's sitting down there and say I've been faithful, because I haven't. I've been unfaithful. I've done some crazy things, but I want to explain to you the mess of my life to explain something else, which we'll get onto in a minute.
Yeah.
But the cocaine addiction was ruining my life. The addiction to steroids was also ruining my life. One of the side effects of steroids is it actually causes hardening of the arteries. These are medical facts. And one of the side effects of cocaine is that it makes your heart run faster than it should. My arteries started to close up in my body because of the abuse of steroids. My heart was racing like a Formula 1 car. and I had an X-ray in 1992, and it showed my heart the size of a small football. And the doctor told me if I continued, I would die.
Yeah, and it's fair to say that you have paid the price physically in a big way, haven't you?
Yeah, I think there's a consequence for your actions in life, and the consequences of my foolish actions, those 4 years of madness, now means that my body, although I look reasonably healthy and suntanned, but it has been a good summer, especially down in Cornwall where I live, the body is wrecked. My heart is very, very badly damaged. I've had a number of operations on my heart, and every now and again I have to sit down and take it easy.
Yeah. But, as we said earlier, your wife's here, and you're still standing, so something happened. What pulled you out of the nosedive?
In one of my sane moments, and there weren't many sane moments, I actually went to see a counsellor. I wanted to get off the drugs, I wanted to get some normality back to my life, and I've never found an alcoholic or a drug addict who actually likes their life, and I didn't particularly like my life. And this drug counsellor happened to be a Christian. Now, I knew nothing about God. Powerlifting was my God. The only Christian I'd ever heard of was Cliff Richard. I never liked his music then, I still don't like his music now. And I'm not a great lover of his wine either. It's not very good, that red Portuguese stuff. I didn't go to church. I thought all Christian men were wimps anyway, dodgy men wearing dodgy sandals. I certainly didn't know that Christian people played guitars and played drums and come into parks and give away stuff for free. I always thought they wanted your money to buy some tiles for the roof or do a bit of painting and decorating. I didn't go to church, didn't think about it. But this Christian man said something to me that has stuck with me. And it doesn't matter where you are in life, ladies and gentlemen, this refers to you as well. He said, you need to choose. Whether you're young, old, rich, poor, man or woman, boy or girl, you have choices to make in life, don't you? Some of them are serious ones, and I had some serious choices to make. Do I continue the life I was living? Because I weren't going to live too much longer. I made a choice 25 years ago. Do you want to know what that choice is?
Tell us about it,
I'll
mate.
tell you the choice. I was in a car park in the East End of London. It was a freezing cold March morning in 1993. I'd been debt collecting all night long. I'd been involved in about 3 or 4 fights. I'd actually got beat up quite badly that night. And I remember standing in the car park on my own. I had ice on the top of my van. I had a pair of trainers on, tracky bottoms. I had a singlet vest, knife, gun, knuckle dusters. I even had a ponytail.
No way, that I don't believe.
Me and you would like to have a ponytail now. And I remember standing there thinking what a mess my life was in. Now, I wasn't a juvenile delinquent. I was 43 years old, and I'm thinking, what a mug I'm in. What has happened in my life? And I just stood there on my own. I wasn't in a nice park with some nice people talking and hearing some wonderful music and a bit of sunshine. I was on my own. My life was in a mess. I wanted it to end, and I just cried out to God. I said, if you're there, come and sort me out. Now, there was no booming voice opening in the heavens or a choir of angels didn't come fluttering down into my life. But I wanted that to happen because, you know, we always want to see things and know things and feel things in ways. But for 4 years, fear and paranoia were my best mates. As hard and as tough as I thought I was, I lived a life of fear, paranoia, wondering who was going to come through my door at night. I slept with my gun under my pillow. Everyone I was looking at, what are they thinking of me? What is she thinking of me? What is he thinking of me? I'm thinking what they're thinking of me now. But I'm telling you the truth, ladies and gentlemen. And as I continue, you need to ask yourself a question. Am I telling you the truth? Or am I lying to you? And if I'm lying to you, what gain do I get from it? Because no one's paid me to be here. Me and my wife, we sat in the car for 8.5 hours yesterday getting up here. I come here because I want to share with you something about my life, but the most important thing, and I'm getting to that. I chose 25 years ago in the car park at the East End of London, Spitalfield Fruit and Veg Market, I tell you. I asked God to come into my life. I chose then to turn from the life I was living I started to go to church, I started to pray, started to read my Bible, and my life started to change. Now, whether you choose to believe is entirely up to you. But what you can't do is argue the truth of my life. My wife is sitting there. We got remarried in 1993. We were apart for 4 years. I have the love and respect of my children, and I have everything that I need in my life. Not everything I want. There's plenty of things I want. Me and my wife want a nice T5 camper van. So if anybody's in, you got one? Oh, yes, see, she'd like. There's plenty of things in life we want, isn't there? But I do have everything I need. Jesus Christ came into my life and turned my life around. I'm nothing special, Carl, you know that. I'm not an intelligent man, an educated man, an intellectual man. I'm just an ordinary guy. But I happen to know a very extraordinary man in Jesus Christ, and he's the one that turned my life around.
And it's a significant turning around, isn't it? I mean, how amazing is that, everybody, that you can go into that depth of despair, marriage falls apart, and now 45 years, is it? How many years together?
47.
47 years back, mate. That's amazing, isn't it? And that just goes to show, I'm going to come back in a little bit and share a little bit more about how this thing works called faith in Christ. But let me tell you this before I come back. What the gospel, the message of Jesus Christ tells us is, there is no situation that can't be put right. There is no life that can't be transformed. There is nothing that you're sitting here with today that can't have peace poured into it. There is nothing that can't be made good. Because we believe that our God loves us so much that he sent his son Jesus Christ so that everything could be turned around for good. And Arthur's story is a powerful demonstration of that. It's not make-believe, it's not a fairy tale, that's real life. What it tells us is that when we put our faith and our trust in Christ, there is nothing that you're sitting here with today that he can't deal with. He writes no man or woman off. It is the most beautiful and amazing news in the universe. And I'm going to explain a little bit more about that in just a moment. But before that, I'm going to get Caroline back up, and you're going to have a little bit more music.
Excellent.
So there we go.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Arf White.
Thank you for giving them a massive round of applause.
Thank you,
So
yeah.
we're just going to take a moment to have a bit more music. It'll take about a minute or so to get them set up for the music, but
It's a big bang.
get comfortable, and we will have another treat for you with all of the music, so enjoy.